Okay, so, did anybody, I don't think anybody did guess what Morning James Travels. I don't think anyone did guess which painting I was channeling. So I'm going to turn off comments, even though I've paused due to a bad connection. And do you know what that means? That means that I might not be able to save this properly. Isn't that really irritating? Anyway, so I posted, for those of you that didn't see it, I posted this painting on my stories and on Instagram and invited you to tell me perhaps what I might be channeling today, this morning. Okay, so I'm going to take my bracelets off. I thought it was a good idea, but it's not because they're bashing against the side. And no one got it. There was a few suggestions. I think my favourite was Kate Bush. I do quite a good impression of Kate Bush. I definitely used to when I was younger, but it's that's for another time. But it wasn't Kate Bush. I was trying to get the vibe, the whole white thing going on. Who was it that was famous for painting in white quite a lot? 19th century, mid-19th century. Anyone got it now? Oh, I've turned off comments, I won't ever know. But it was from this painting here. This is part of the painting. So it's Whistler. It's Whistler. So this is what I was trying to do. Not bad. I don't know quite how she bends at the waist in the way that she does bend at the waist. I think she's done quite a lot more yoga maybe than I have, or maybe it's just the fact that actually she is about 25 years younger than I am in this painting. Not anymore, obviously, she's dead now. This was painted in 1867, exhibited in 1868. So this is Whistler's painting. It's called, let me get this is the whole painting, you don't need to see me anymore. He called it Symphony in White number 3, which suggests, doesn't it, that there was a Symphony in White number 1 and there was a Symphony in White number 2, and indeed there were. So this is Symphony in White number 1, only he didn't call it Symphony in White number 1 to begin with. He called it just the girl in white. No, the white girl. The white girl. So this is James McNeill Whistler, the white girl, and this was painted in, completed in 1862. So then he went on and he painted this one. Also didn't call it Symphony in White. This was called The Little White Girl. And this was exhibited in 1864. So this one was exhibited at the Royal Academy. He did actually put the put number 1, Symphony number 1, or the White Girl, up for exhibition to be exhibited at the Royal Academy, and it was rejected. It was then also rejected in Paris at the main Paris Salon, which is the French equivalent of the Royal Academy. And so eventually the first one, so this, where is it? So this one, sorry, I've jumped a bit. So this one was exhibited in the Salon des Refusés, so in Paris. It's an aeroplane, my goodness. So in the basically in an exhibition of paintings that had been rejected from everywhere else. So this one in the Royal Academy, and then this one also in the Royal Academy. And so, okay, what's the thing with the white? What is going on with this white theme that very clearly runs through all of these paintings? Well, he was kind of actually mocking the British public in many respects. Whistler was an American, and he was from quite a well-to-do, almost a bit hoity-toity family, and he came and lived in London. He arrived in 1859, and he didn't think much of it, basically, and he was a bit snooty and a bit of a snob actually, and kind of wasn't that nice about London and many of the people in it and society in general. And so he started painting these paintings with themes of white. And you might think, well, yeah, okay, what's wrong with that? These are perfectly normal paintings. They've all got, this lovely lady in them. And by the way, this lovely lady is the same lovely lady in every single one of the paintings. Let's go back. So this is number 1. So this is the white girl. This is Joanna Heffernan, who was Whistler's girlfriend for 6 years. So just after he arrived in London. And then there she is again, Joanna Heffernan. You can see it's the same lady. And then here she is again. She is the model on the left-hand side, Joanna Heffernan. It was said that actually they fell out. Joanna Heffernan used to be a model for some other artists as well as Whistler, and eventually her relationship with Whistler started to deteriorate. It was said when she modelled for Gustave Courbet, who for his painting The Origins of the World. Some of you may know that painting, some of you have a little look, maybe don't look it up in public necessarily, Origine du Monde, or The Origins of the World. It has been decided now because of correspondence that actually she wasn't the model for The Origins of the World. I could have probably told you that though, and this was only discovered through correspondence a year or so ago, because Joanna Heffernan is a redhead and the woman in The Origins of the World, Gustave Courbet, is not a redhead. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, as I say, look it up. I'm not going to show you here. Okay. Nice pictures, this nice lady, his girlfriend, all to do with white. But what he knew would happen is exactly what did happen. So people would look, folk would look at this painting, and in the Victorian society in which Whistler had found himself or moved himself, basically paintings had to be about something or were referencing something. So people were looking at this and they were like, oh, well, she has got, if you notice, a flower in her hand. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's a white flower. Oh, it's a white lily. It must be a reference to the Virgin Mary. Oh, she's standing on a rug. It's a wolf rug. This must be a reference to lust. Or maybe it's some kind of analogy, where a loss of innocence is involved or something. And so people's imaginations are going mad. And then someone came up with the idea, well, hang on a minute. This is called The White Girl. A very famous novel was doing the rounds at this moment. A novel that was very famous at this moment was doing the rounds. It was called The Woman in White. And it actually was published in 1859, in fact, the same year that Whistler moved to London. And so then the gossip, if you like, started. Well, it must be all about the woman in white. And it was really, really famous, this book. I mean, if you think it was sort of the 50 Shades of Grey equivalent back in 1859. Everybody knew about it. 50 Shades of Grey, by the way, 2011. Can you believe it was that long ago? I can't. Anyway, so then what started happening was people started to go and see the painting, believing that it was some sort of pictorial depiction of this novel, Wilkie Collins' novel, The Woman in White, and then they were really bitterly disappointed. So then he paints the next one, and this one comes out, and folk were, oh, well, she's got her hand on the mantelpiece and you can see her wedding ring, so this must be something to do with her marriage. She looks a bit sad, she looks reflective. Is this a bad marriage? Is this a good marriage? What's with the chinoiserie, the Chinese, Japanese, actually, it's not chinoiserie, the Japanese vase and the Japanese fan? Has that got something to do with it? Is she looking in the mirror? Is it supposed to be evocative of the Rokeby Venus? Blah. And so it went on. And then they came to this one, and there was a frenzy around this one as well. 1867, exhibited in 1868, actually in the Royal Academy as well. wow, 2 women here, 2 to play with. Oh, is she a bride? Is she about to get married? Has she just got married? Are they goddesses? If so, which goddesses are they? Are they in fact not goddesses or virginal or any of that at all? Are they in fact just waiting around in their 90s? For customers, are they in fact prostitutes? And so this was all going on, and Whistler, throughout all of these years, Whistler said nothing. He said nothing at all. And so because he said nothing, the frenzy built, and he just listened to people babbling about the meanings of his paintings, until one day I think he snapped, probably to a journalist, and he said, look, and he was talking about this one, the first one. He said, it is just a painting of a woman in front of a white curtain wearing a white dress on a white rug. Oh, so it doesn't really mean anything. Well, he declined to comment, but then in the 1880s, he actually changed the name to the first and second painting to Symphony in White No. 1, Symphony in White No. 2, and then we have Symphony in White No. 3. So I think he made his point that yes, these paintings weren't about anything. And as I say, they were kind of mocking, because he knew that people would assume that they were about something, and they just weren't. They were about, or they were looking at, enjoying white and different colours of white and different textures of white, and white playing with compositions and light a little bit. It was just all about white. That's all it was about, white. And he saw paintings, if you like, more like music or poetry. Was definitely music, symphonies, lyrical. So they just didn't have to have any kind of meaning for him. And this was something quite new, especially within this society. And it meant that people didn't really quite get it. It felt like it was an art then for the elite, and this is exactly after this time the sort of image that Whistler started to channel. So he became, I kind of think of him as the sort of Karl Lagerfeld of his day. So Karl Lagerfeld, always immaculate in the same outfit. Well, Whistler, this is a picture of Whistler, but this is before this period, I think. So Whistler would dress up, and he would dress, guess what, in white. And he would dress, white shoes, white suit. He cultivated a big white lock of hair that was quite sort of prominent. He would walk white Pomeranian dogs, big white fluffy ones, and he settled down in London, and he bought a house, and guess what he called it? It's the big one in the middle here. He called it the White House. So he was all about the white. And then what he did was in 1883 he held an exhibition, and it was an exhibition of his etchings that were all monochrome, and he held them in a gallery that he had painted, guess what, white. He made the frames himself. They were white paintings, monochrome, walls, floor, ceiling, white. The attendants were dressed in white. There was one who I think must have been a little bit tubby, because he became, I think, lovingly referred to as the poached egg man. But basically he made an environment that was really sterile and really terrifying. And he is essentially the inventor, if you like, of the white cube. So for decades and decades after Whistler's exhibition, that was referred to as a masterpiece of mischief, the white cube became the thing, and art did become quite quite elitist. I'm just trying to take a picture of it. And elitist, and it frightened people. And now there's just people like little old me that are trying to break down those barriers, basically, that Whistler really, really helped to build with this elite art that he decided was gonna mean nothing when in an age when people were expecting art to mean something, and so therefore completely flummoxing and alienating about 95% of the population. There we go. So that's 3 paintings in one. Whistler's Symphonies in white. So I've just turned on commenting to see what you think of that. As I say, I hope I can save this, because the last time I couldn't save it properly because I think the file corrupts if there's any interference. Oh, thank you. Fascinating. So, by the way, 2 of those paintings are in the UK. So the first one, Symphony in White number, so this one is in Washington. This one is in the Tate, Britain, and this one is in Birmingham. So yes, so maybe you can get to see one of those. Thank you. Perfect tea break. Thank you very much. Well, I'm just gonna go and lie around on my white sofa all day, or maybe I'm actually going to go and clean the house because it's been a bit neglected, which isn't a thing to do on Bank Holiday Monday, so I'm going to do that really quickly, and then I'm going to go and lie around on my white sofa all day for the rest of the afternoon, looking in my head, looking like I'm 20 years old and 6 foot tall. Have a lovely, lovely day, everybody, and I will catch up with you on Thursday when we have, ciao darling, when we have more weird paintings, 3 more to pick from. I haven't picked which 3 yet. I'll see how the mood takes me perhaps tomorrow. And there's another new pepped up by paintings that will be released on Saturday, so I hope you've been enjoying them. And I don't know, I've probably got other things on the go. I'm forever young, yeah, I wish. All the face packs. Anyway, have a great day, everybody, and I will hope to see you soon. Bye. Great, amazing. Going to look at the origin. Yes, do have a look. Oh, okay. Origine du Monde. Origine du Monde was the painting that, sorry, I said goodbye and now I'm back again, was Gustave Courbet's work, and you'll see what I mean when you think that she's a redhead and the model in the Origine du Monde is not a redhead, definitely not a redhead. So you might enjoy that. But as I say, maybe, if you're on the tube or something, which you're probably not at the moment, or if you're with small children, then you might just want to look at that when little eyes can't see. That's all I can say. Who was the Origin model? Well, they thought that it might have been, for ages, they thought it might have been Joanna Heffernan, who was Whistler's girlfriend, but as I say, she's a redhead. So Constance, somebody or other. I can't remember. She was another lady who modelled very often in that circle, and there was some letters, I think, between her and Courbet, suggesting that she was in fact the model. So. But I can't, yeah, that's sort of coming to me. I read an article a while ago, and that's sort of swirling around in the back of my mind, and I'm not entirely sure, but it's not Joanna. All I can say. Okay, bye everybody. I will see you soon.